Hello everyone! I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today I'm going to talk about my journey as an artist. So in addition to being an author, I'm also an artist. I did all the illustrations and the cover art for my novel Geisha Hands, and I also did the cover art for my novella Pandora. I've also done a lot of different art pieces over the years, and over the years I took so many traditional art classes, and I also took digital art classes, graphic design, all of that, and I just keep playing with art in my free time. I've also done it in a professional capacity in the past. I've had my work featured in galleries and in exhibitions in local coffee shops and fun stuff like that. And so the big thing with being a person who is able to be a one-man band, where I'm able to just do it all. I'm able to write my own books. I'm able to do the art for my own books. I'm able to do the recording for the audiobooks for my own books. I will admit a big part of why I hate AI is that it just feels very lazy. Because I didn't just wake up one day and I was just magically good at art. And even with writing, I still had to work very hard at it. And with art, it's something that you have to just sit and you have to do it. And that's what I've done, is I've spent years learning and doing art. I can't tell you how many countless hours I spent in classrooms drawing still lifes and painting still lifes and having to do art pieces of things that I didn't like and having to explore mediums I didn't like and having to draw and paint subject matter that I didn't like and having so many art pieces that didn't turn out the way that I wanted to, or being frustrated that my skills weren't up to par with where I wanted them to be. That's just all part of the process, and not just with art, but honestly with anything. Same thing with my writing, that it's taken me decades to get where I am today with my writing, and even with all of the added special points that I have with being a legacy writer and being born with just an absurd amount of writing talent right off the bat, and then having complete and utter and total support from my parents and my family to pursue that, just all of that, and then also having the opportunity to go to a college where it wasn't just writing, it was, this is how to be an author as a business person. Having all of that, yes, all of that really does put me above a lot of people, but at the end of the day, none of that matters if you don't sit down and actually do it. Because of the people that I went to college with for writing, very few of them actually went on to become professional authors and actually publish books and do this as a business. A lot of them, they just kind of went to college and wrote some stories, didn't publish them, and then moved on and got a typical standard corporate job. And while some of them took that path and they're still doing writing on the side, the vast majority of them just quit writing and haven't done anything with it since college. And I find that so sad and so disappointing, because going all the way, it feels like almost right up to the finish line and then just quitting. And I feel like so many people do that, and they do it because it's hard. And at the end of the day, any art form is hard. And the only way that you get good at it and the only way that you succeed at it is you just have to do it. No matter how hard it is, no matter how tired you are, no matter how little amount of time that you have at your disposal, you just have to do it. And so, especially with art, I didn't start off being good at art. I had to really, really work at it. Like I tell people, my natural talent for writing is up here and art is here. It's way down here. I had to work so hard at my art to get it to be where it is today, where I'm happy with it and I can work with it in a professional capacity. I had to spend countless hours. And there is that theory that 10,000 hours of doing a thing makes you a master of doing that thing. I'm fairly certain I have far surpassed the 10,000 hours with my art, even though I have far and away spent far more hours on my writing than I have my art, because first and foremost, my writing always takes precedence. My writing is my everything. Art is here to help. It's kind of the thing. I love my art. I love doing art, but it is here to help facilitate my writing. My writing is king at the end of the day. But I am also very proud of my art, and I am very proud of the journey that I've taken with my art. And so I have all of my sketchbooks. I have kept every single one of my sketchbooks all the way from when I was a little kid. I don't have access to all of them. They're in different places in storage, and not all of them are accessible, but I have a pretty decent stack of them here with me. So we have all of these. And we have all of these. And I still have way more in storage. And I have also my old art portfolios. And I have all of my old art pieces, like canvases and things like that. And then, of course, all the art I've sold over the years. I have so much, y'all. I have so much art. And a lot of it is bad, because that's how you get good, is you just got to keep doing it, even if it's bad. And it'll be bad. It'll be bad at first. You have to suck at a thing before you get good at a thing. So I'm going to share with y'all one of my old sketchbooks. This is from when I was a child. We're talking like 10 years old. With the you have to suck before you get good thing. Here's my very cringe anime drawings, you know, coming home from school and plopping myself down in front of Toonami and drawing what's on the screen. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. Here we go. What is anatomy? Look at these tiny hands. Look at Like, this is what I'm talking about. You have to be bad before you can get good. That's how it works, y'all. You learn. You have to do it by learning and doing. Like, doing and the learning. And this is before I had any professional art classes. Just so bad. I wrote his name. I'm like, look, it's Goku. Oh, this one's really bad. Like, again, what is anatomy? Like, where are her knees? This one's actually pretty decent. This one's actually pretty good. I think I did a pretty good job with this one. But, you know, it's also very simple, so. And these were all me just sitting in front of the TV with this sketchbook. Okay? And just be like, I'm gonna draw Sailor Moon cartoons and Dragon Ball Z cartoons, because that's what I was watching. Like, you know, this is so bad. Oh, here we go. Here's some more bad ones. Look at how tiny these hands are. Tiny hands, disproportionate faces, just utter ridiculousness. But yeah, it's just the whole sketchbook is just full of sketches like that. And this was, you know, me at like 10 years old, okay? And then this was my high school sketchbook. And the reason why it has all these, like, sticky notes and stuff is these are, like, teacher notes and, like, school notes and things like that. So this was my homework, where I had assignments that I had to draw in this every day and then bring it to class, and then she would grade us on it while we then did, like, an assignment during class. So, like, hand this in at the beginning of class so that she can grade all of them. And while she's grading all of the sketchbooks, there's, like, a still life in the middle of the room, and you have to work on the still life in the middle of the room. And we did charcoal, we did pastels, we did watercolor, we did graphite, we did oil painting. And that's what you do is, okay, here's the thing you're supposed to work on, here's the medium you're supposed to use, you do that, and then at the end of class you get your sketchbook back with your feedback. She gave us a lot of free rein for the assignments, which I really appreciated, because I had like my own things that I want, everybody had their own things that they wanted to draw. And of course it was high school, so I was doing all the cringy stuff. And I was still very influenced by the anime style of drawing. And I know this is really hard to see because I used not a number 2 pencil, but I think it was like an A6 pencil at the time. I thought it was very cool using, the very hard graphite pencil that it's like impossible to see it. I don't know why I made that choice. Here we go. Here's some more bad anatomy. Just where is any bones? Where is anatomy? I believe this was like sophomore year. And I took art all throughout all 4 years of high school. But yeah, we got some chobits going on. Just what is anatomy? I think I have some color ones in here somewhere. Oh goodness, y'all. This one. So I love Fantasia. The original Fantasia. And specifically, I love the Pegasuses and I love the Centaurs. And so these were the preliminary sketches I did to that colored pencil drawing that I did in high school that I then later did the digital rendition of. And I've had fun, like, doing these redraws with... Oh, here we go. Here's one that was pretty okay. It's Charmy Kitty from Hello Kitty. To see how, like, I progressively get better at doing things. Here we go. Here's a portrait I did. And so, I was learning. I was getting better. And then most people don't know this, but there was a year in between when I graduated from high school and when I started taking classes at the community college, COD, College of DuPage, before I went to Columbia. And that was because, unfortunately, I got rejected by the school that I originally wanted to go to, which was Santa Cruz in California. I got accepted instead into a program that was through Disney and Pixar for computer animation. And so you were working with like actual like Disney and Pixar animators as your professors and learning how to do computer animation. The problem was that the program was not really advertised correctly in that they made it seem like this is like 101 learning how to do it, but like once I was in the program, I realized very quickly, number one, I was the youngest person there by a lot. Most people there were in their 30s and 40s. It was more so, this is like a test, like an internship kind of thing to see if they wanted to recruit you to be an animator. So these were people who already knew how to do computer animation. Like they already had experience, and I was getting terrible grades on all my assignments because I had no idea what I was doing because I thought I was here to learn. No. I did learn a lot from that year of doing that, and this was my sketchbook from that, with learning the physics behind animation. And in learning that, I learned a lot about anatomy and form and movement and all that. And so even though I failed at doing computer animation, I still won. This still influenced my work. I still learned valuable skills that went on to make my art better. And so doing all this really, really made my art better going forwards. This was directly after high school. And because of that, I was able to start really drawing a lot better. And I continued taking art classes when I went to College of DuPage, and then I took more art classes while I was at Columbia. During this time, I learned a lot more about form and shading. I bought a lot more of those like art books that they have where they like have step-by-steps on like how to draw different things so that I could experiment with different stuff and like have fun with coloring and all that. some of these are really old. So the paper is fragile. Oh yeah, it's small, but it's really cute. Little bumblebee bunny thing going on. And I was just able to get way better at, like, characterization through doing all of this kind of stuff. And of course, you know, there are aspects to these drawings that, you know, are still not great and can be improved upon. But, you know, that was still like 15 years ago. I just kept drawing and kept drawing. And I got, you know, I experimented with different styles and different ideas. A lot of fan art. Like, a lot. And just also, you know, random little characters and random little ideas. And during this also, the reason why these sketches are so rough is this was also when I started getting into digital drawing. So it was the idea of that, you know, these were just the preliminary sketches. They didn't need to be perfect. They just needed to be the starting point for me so that then I could take them and put them in my digital drawing software, and then I could draw them in the digital drawing software and be able to use a lot of different stuff for that. But even so, even with the digital drawing software, I was still drawing by hand. I have a Wacom tablet that I draw with to create these things. So even so, you know, there still isn't a lot of, like, photo manipulation sort of stuff. There isn't really a lot of, like, compilation sort of stuff going on. It's very much like, okay, here's the starting point, you know, now where do I want to go with that? And then the thing that made digital drawing so appealing to me is the idea that you can have multiple layers and you can undo things and you don't have to worry about, like, destroying the paper by erasing and getting frustrated with that. I could also make things more symmetrical by literally drawing something the way that I liked. So, for instance, a big thing that I do is, like, you know, if I draw an eye that I really like, I can then just clone it and then flip it horizontally and put it on the other side. Bam! You have a perfect symmetrical pair of eyes. Things like that. And just having those kind of capabilities with the digital aspect was up the ante for me with really taking my drawings and things to the next level. At the same time, I also did a lot with painting. I also really love painting. Unfortunately, I have very small windows where I've been able to paint because a lot of times I've lived in situations like the situation I'm living in right now where I just can't paint. Whether it's I don't have the space for it or I'm not allowed to because it makes a mess and things like that. And so it's kind of I paint when I can in places where I can. I always have so much joy when I'm able to do that. And when I paint, it is a completely different skill set than when I draw. There are things that I can do with a physical canvas and paint that I just can't do with pencil and paper, that I can't do digitally on the computer. And that is frustrating sometimes, knowing that it's like, you know, I can't take the best of all these different worlds and cram them all together, that it's this lives over here and this lives over there. But it also makes it where I have the motivation to do all those different aspects of it. And so I've sold a lot of my canvas paintings over the years, and of course I have all the pictures of them, and it means a lot to me that people enjoy my art and want to hang my canvases up in their homes and all that. And it's really amazing taking something from my brain and bringing it to life so visually through art. And it's also amazing that I'm able to, I feel like, create a full vision with that. I can write a story and then I can also illustrate it. So it's like, I'm going to tell you this whole story and build this whole world with all these characters for you. And then I can show you what all of that actually looks like with these pictures. And that added aspect, I feel like, is so amazing. And I know not very many people can do that. It's a rare skill to be able to be both a writer and an artist. And be able to have those within a certain realm of professionalism with each other, that my art is up to snuff, that I can put it in my books and it look like it belongs there. Even with commissioning someone, it will never necessarily be exactly what's in your head, because it's still somebody else doing it for you and having to have that communication to make it as close as possible. Whereas when I'm doing it as the artist, I can just be like, yeah, it's this, blah, and just make it happen. Having that ability is in certain ways a privilege, but I didn't just get that by mistake. I didn't just get it by accident. It just didn't poof fall out of the sky. It took all of these sketchbooks over decades and classes and just doing it and sucking at it in order to get where I am now, in order to get at the capacity that I'm at now. And not only that, I have to keep doing it. It's a thing where you use it or you lose it. You have to keep doing it to stay sharp. And so one of the things that I did to keep sharp, as well as it was a goal of mine, and I know there's a lot of controversy and a lot of people feel a lot of ways about Inktober, and I respect and understand all of that. For me, it was more about a personal goal and not so much about Inktober. But in 2024, I finally met my goal of doing all 31 drawings for Inktober. And now I technically bent the rules in that I did not do one drawing per day, because unfortunately with my life, that's physically impossible. So there were days where I did multiple drawings and other days where I did no drawings. But within the span of Inktober, I did all 31 drawings. And for me, that was the goal that I wanted to accomplish, and I did it. And I'm so proud of myself that I was able to do it. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I did it and I'm not doing it again, because it was drastic, y'all. It took so much time and energy and effort and planning to make that happen. It is unrealistic for me to think I'm going to be able to do that like every year, let alone again. Being able to do that was so important to me to meet that goal, but it was also really good practice to keep myself in practice. And these are all hand-drawn with pencil and ink. So I drew it first in pencil, and then I went over it with ink, with pen, and with permanent marker. And, some of them came out better than others. Some of them, I feel, didn't turn out very good. But that's the nature of art. Every piece is not going to be a masterpiece. And that's okay. You're supposed to learn with each one that you do. And most importantly, you're supposed to have fun with it. Art is supposed to be enjoyed. It is supposed to be fun. The process of doing an art is fun. It is the process that is fun. And while, yes, it is fun for me to sit here with y'all and look at all of these sketchbooks and go over all these things, it was way more fun physically sitting and doing the art. I guarantee you that. I had so much fun drawing all these, envisioning these. I had a blast. And individually, some of these, like this one, I don't feel like this one turned out very good, especially the book. The book is I'm sorry, what our perspective. I was also tired. But the doing was fun. This one turned out good. This one's really cute. And then also having this whole body of work is the most important thing, is that, I can point to this and be like, yeah, I did this. Yeah, I sat down and I did all 31 drawings. Yeah, some of them aren't as good as the others, and that's okay, but I did all 31 of them. And I did these all by hand. Completely freehand. Made by a human. And this is what artists and, other creatives are talking about when they talk about that they hate AI. We're all sitting here busting our asses doing this. Drawing, writing, performing, doing the things. It is human nature to want to create, to want to do things. It is not in the having the end product. It is in the doing. And so it's like, could I have created all 31 of these, you know, within, I don't know how long it takes, you know, to do those things. I don't know, we'll say an hour to do all 31 of these. Sure. And I could have said, yep, I have all 31. It wouldn't have meant anything. I wouldn't have accomplished anything. I wouldn't have met this goal. So yeah, I would have had 31 images of crap. Would I have been happy? No. Would I have felt accomplished? No. Would I have had fun? No. And therein lies the point. It's about the doing. It's the experience. It's using your imagination. It's continuing to improve your skills. Sometimes it's surprising yourself. Like some of these drawings, as it was going, I was surprised at where it was going and, how it ended up from my original vision. And sometimes, I was unhappy with the results. And sometimes I was quite pleased. Like this one, this was my grand finale. This is 31. I am really proud of this. I drew a whole building, y'all. And I am not good at architecture, okay? I drew a whole building. Freehand, with no ruler. Okay? I'm really proud of this one. So yeah. This is why artists are begging you to please stop using the giant theft pollution machine. No one is gatekeeping you from picking up a pencil. No one is gatekeeping you from buying a Wacom tablet. No one is gatekeeping you from putting a paintbrush to a canvas. You are. You're stopping yourself from doing those things because it has been proven, has been scientifically proven that people who start using AI are much more likely to begin to depend on it more and more than to stop using it and go back to doing it themselves. I read an article recently that it's people who think that it's okay because they're only using it for the gaps, as they were calling it. Oh, I just want to fill in the gaps in the process. I already completed 75% of the thing. I just want it to be done, so I'm just going to feed it into the trash machine so that it'll make it be done for me. And over time, then it becomes 50%. And then 25%, and then the machine just does everything for them. And as they do that, the more and more they do it, the harder it is for them to go back and do it themselves. Not just with the addiction of, oh, well, this is faster and easier, but they're actively losing the skills to be able to do what they used to be able to do in the first place. To me, that sounds like a dystopian nightmare. I'm sorry, the more that I feed the trash machine my art, the more I lose my art, it takes it away from me, my ability to draw and paint and imagine. That sounds horrifying. I don't want that. No, thank you. Because it rewires your brain. They've proven that AI will rewire your brain. That's what it does. It makes you helpless. Well, I can tell y'all, with this giant body of work that I have, and these are just the physical sketchbooks that I have. This isn't even the massive portfolio of digital work that I have on my computer. No robot is taking any of that away from me. I can tell you that right now. And no robot will do any of my art or my writing or any of my creative pursuits for me in the future. I will be doing all of those myself, all by myself if I have to, because that's how I've been doing it, and that's how I will continue to do it. Because at the end of the day, when I look back on my body of work, I want to be proud of what I did because I did it. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, I did it. And that's how real artists feel about their work. They love it, even if it's the beautiful polished stuff, or it's your crappy, Toonami Saturday morning cartoons, I'm drawing in front of the TV with my cereal bowl nonsense. All of them we're proud of. I hope y'all found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. And if you're new, subscribe. Alright, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.